All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to talk about something that I've started doing this year, especially. And it's something that not a lot of people, especially in the music/producer community, and that is reading. And a book that is really relevant, especially to this space, is the one I just finished, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I highly recommend for anyone who is making art in any capacity, or just for human beings in general, because I believe everything that we do from day to day, even if it doesn't seem like it, is creative, because we are all individuals, and the way we filter information through our perception, interpret that, create beliefs, values, and then ultimately creating your own art from that through decisions that you make, things you invent, things you create, conversations you have even. So yeah, I just want to come on here and tell you what I've gained from reading, how it's changed the way I do things, and why I think it's an invaluable practice that you should add to things you do on a daily basis. In today's world filled with mobile phones and social media, it's very difficult to find not only information that is accurate, but information that is relevant to you as an individual and to you in the point where you are in your life or in your career. There's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of useless stuff that kind of the price of being on social media. And that's a really big upside when it comes to books. Now, sort of the initial cost, I believe, especially when you're first starting and you don't know what to read, would be the time you have to invest to get good at reading, would be, of course, the money you have to spend to buy the books, which really for the value you're getting in return is one of the cheapest things you can buy for such good information. And especially if you buy books that are highly recommended, very successful, have great reviews, or you've heard a lot of people talk about them before, you can really bypass a lot of these issues. And also just following people who you look up to and getting the books that they recommend. Often that's a really good way of going about things. If a person inspires you, finding out the works that inspired them more often than not work for you as well. So that's just something that I've found. I hope this is making sense. But reading, the kind of intention that goes into picking a book to read, digesting the information, trying to comprehend and learn as much as possible is very different to watching a YouTube video or consuming something that isn't necessarily an active task, if that makes sense. And I think that's a good reason why it sets it apart from a lot of the other resources online. Don't get me wrong, those resources are invaluable, and they're a large part of the reason as to why I've gotten as far as I have so far, and really to why I even started. And that's kind of why I'm making videos like these, is trying to maybe help you start on your journey or continue down the path that you're on. But having that intention, like picking up a book that is talking about the things that you want to learn about from perhaps a person that you really value their perspective or things they've gone through, stories they have to tell, you know. And although it takes more brain power, is a lot harder, especially starting out, I think the returns are really, really high, and you don't have the noise or the bullshit that comes with social media, all the excess fluff. People have spent years writing and editing these books to distill information down in its purest form. And you can't really find information like that in any other place. By no means is this a replacement for perhaps online tutorials, videos, podcasts. I still use those every single day as well. But if you can start to incorporate reading books like The Creative Act, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, Atomic Habits, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, all these really popular self-development books will shift you into a direction and to make you grow as a human being across the board. And you can use these principles and philosophies for the rest of your life. And they're always on the bookshelf, so you can go and grab them, flick to the chapter that you're thinking of, and it's there. So in the spirit of this video, I'm just going to take all the books I've read and rate them for you right now, tell you if I recommend them, kind of what they're about, if they're relevant to you, and why I would recommend them. So let's do it real quick. So the last book I read, The Creative Act, A Way of Being, I think this is a great book for anyone, especially creative people, musicians, artists, anything of that nature. And I'm not just talking about music. It's really great to start to recognize the box that you put yourself in with the beliefs that you have and create about yourself and your abilities, as well as a lot of other stuff about the source and spirituality in a sense. Really good book, or I definitely recommend. This one's You Are the Universe by Deepak Chopra. This one is a very spiritual book. I got it for $9 at an old bookshop, as you can probably tell. When I was reading it, I didn't have great things to say about this, but more and more I find myself calling back to it and finding things that were in this book sort of come back to me again and again during my life. It speaks a lot of truth into spirituality, a lot of the problems with science and our conception of the quantum realm, how the universe began, and the nature of the universe and those types of things. So if you really want to break your conception of reality, this is a really good book. As I mentioned before, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is a really good book on relationships, especially. And one of the biggest takeaways I gotten from this book, and something that had changed my outlook on what I was trying to become even as a person. There's the 7 Habits paradigm, where you go from dependence to independence and then finally interdependence. Now, growing up, I put so much emphasis on becoming independent. I saw having my own shit together as a solve for everything. And this is true up until a point, but I found it was blocking me from a deeper level of connection, especially in my really close relationships I have with people. And this really shifted my perspective when it came to that, and why interdependence is a more effective way of living your life and getting things done than independence was. So that was a big paradigm shift for me. Highly recommend. This one's another classic, Think and Grow Rich. This is kind of a different looking version, and the pages are quite massive with a lot of words on them. But you can get a normal, like, size shaped version of this with less words on a page, so it's less daunting in many bookstores. But this is one of the greatest books of all time, and for good reason. It outlines the law of attraction and manifestation and explains the mechanisms behind it in a very easy to grasp way. And it builds a really great foundation for creating a state of abundance in your life and in your mind, because that's really where it begins. And just really quickly, before I finish here, 3 more books I recommend. The Power of the Subconscious Mind is very similar to Think and Grow Rich. This one just has many more real life examples of how people have used manifestation and the power of their mind successfully. This will also really drive home the fact that your thoughts create your reality, and it is very important to audit constantly the thoughts you're having about anything, because they really are the beginning of everything you see around you. The next one is The Courage to Be Disliked. This is another really popular one. It's really great. It is based on the psychology of Alfred Adler. It really shows you how you can bust out of the box you might have been living in your life, and really detach from what people think of you, how we're all in this together. And yeah, I really recommend it. The next one is Karma by Sadhguru. This one, although it's kind of about spirituality, I guess, in a way, but the way he talks about karma and the actual definition, it's not this what goes around comes around mentality, which is really how it's become known as. It's more of a objective memory where it doesn't see things as good or as bad. It just sees them as what they are, and that you can accrue karma, which could also be called as baggage, if you're acting throughout your life unconsciously and you're essentially not living in the present moment and allowing yourself to slip away, in a sense that when you become conscious again, you perhaps have done something you're not proud of, or you've just let things slowly deteriorate and you're not happy with where you are as a consequence of that. So it's really good for wanting to take accountability for your life and to help other people do that as well, and to really fulfill your destiny, because I think really that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's just all information, it's stories, it's perspectives that really all lead to the same place, but each thing you learn just gives you a more detailed picture. You can understand it more deeply to make your life that much richer, both in the quality of your relationships and the fulfillment you have becoming a better person. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. If you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, I hope you gained some value out of this. Don't worry about leaving a like or commenting or anything. Just go and buy a book, read a book, and then DM me on Instagram at BreezyOfficial and let me know what you learned, because I would love to learn with you as well. So that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.